I am calling to order the regular scheduled meeting of the Lone Star City Council, January the 19th, 2017 at 6 p.m. We'll start off with an invocation by Mr. Cox and followed by a pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can gather together tonight. Lord, just give us the wisdom and the insight into dealing with the problems that the city has. Thank you for everyone that showed up. Just be with us, protect our military, and Lord, we just ask you to bless the new president tomorrow when he gets sworn in. Ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, our first item of business then is the last meeting, the minutes.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented for December the 15th, 2016.
Okay. Motion second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, and now our reports.
Make a motion that we accept the reports 5-1 through 5-8, A and B.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second, any discussion? Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving right on into the non-action items. We actually, this is kind of a duplicate, because, you know, I guess you don't cover that, do you?
It's just a
But the city council would like to acknowledge the dedication and hard work of the Lone Star Police Department by removing drugs from the streets of Lone Star. Council would also like to thank the Morris County Sheriff's Department, the Daingerfield Lone Star Independent School District Police Department, and the Omaha Police Department for their assistance in this operation. It was a major bust, and any time that we can do that, it makes this town a lot better place to be in. So our thanks to our policemen and all the others. Okay, number 7, we had a financial audit, which is part of your package tonight, presented by the audit firm of Arnold, Walker, Arnold and Company.
Luke is not here.
I thought he was here earlier. We could just table this one. If anybody would like to ask Luke any questions, okay. We'll jump right on to, if we're happy with the company of Arnold, Walker and Arnold, we have a letter of engagement to engage them for next year. So if someone would like to make a motion.
Motion to approve the letter of engagement next year with Arnold, Walker, and Arnold Company. The financial audit of the year will be in the
September the 30th.
September 30th, 2017.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let me table this one. Next is, of course, we know there's an election coming, and my spot and Mona and Randy's spot are all open. So, do I hear a motion on calling the thing?
Make a motion that we accept May 6, 2017 as the date for the election.
Okay,
Second?
motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next, way back at the very back of your package, a very short thing on Mike Gilmore. Mike Gilmore was recommended to us by the Economic Development Board to sit on the Economic Development Board. And we've had that vacancy for a while, and we're trying to get a little more representation of some of the business people from Lone Star on that board.
I would make a motion to appoint Mike Gilmore to the Economic Development.
And I'll second that.
Okay, motion and second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and any opposed? No. The, next we're going to have a brief update from Mitch on the Welcome to Lone Star signs and information on a potential project for the board.
Thank you for asking me. Here representing the Economic Development Board. This is a project that we've been working on for well over a year. And first off, we asked Carol Hodges from the Design Factory to come into the board meeting, which she did. And she made some recommendations. And after careful consideration, the board decided not to spend that much money on signs. 3 of them, one north, one south, and one east. After we decided to do that and not spend that kind of money, I think it was $24,000 out of the Economic Board's bank account, we decided to look at using the signs that are up already. And after some lengthy conversation about it and deliberation, we are pursuing that. And I apologize because I do not have the cost. I think in one case we need to make them a little bit bigger. I'm donating the pipe, or Cox Logistics is donating the pipe for the frame, and we will have to purchase some what we call expanded metal to go inside the frame. These signs are already up. They've got Kiwanis, Welcome to Lone Star, a couple of church signs on them. And we've decided we want to utilize what's up rather than putting up another sign at this time and not spend that $24,000. The cost will be minimal. I've got a welder looking at it. He got called off on a job that's going to last a couple of weeks, and he's going to be back. But like I said, Cox Logistics is going to donate the 2 3/8 piping for the frame. There's a good chance that we're going to move the one from the east up to where the Gator Hawk building's at, and make it a little bit more visible. I'm sorry?
Golden Hawk.
Golden Hawk, is that it? Golden Hawk, okay, Golden Hawk. I always get that confused, I call him Gator Hawk. I have contacted the owner of that building. I know him, he's in the trucking business out of near Cleveland, Ohio, and he does not have a problem with it at this point. To put it up there close to the entrance off of 250, so it can be seen. That's where we're at on the signs. Again, I apologize, I don't have a cost, but it will be considerably less than $24,000. We might even get out of it for a little bit of nothing, just a little bit of welding time. And we'll have a sign that's got all of the signs on it. It'll have Welcome to Lone Star and so on. I'm open for questions. Yes, ma'am.
What good are bigger signs if we don't have businesses to draw people in?
Well, that's part of it. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did sign come first or did what? That's part of what we've been discussing. We're trying to make it visible so we can have those signs up that say, welcome to Lone Star. And again, there are some signs already on it. We're basically what we're gonna do is enlarge it so we can get welcome to Lone Star on it. And then possibly move them so they can be seen. So, I think it's a good thing. I do not think it's good enough thing to spend $24,000 on, so we have scaled that way back. So, I guess to answer your question, I don't see how it can hurt.
But what's the point of spending the money if we don't have businesses here to draw them in? All we have is a bunch of game rooms.
Excuse me, it's really a town council or a town meeting, it's a town council. And the only people who are supposed to ask questions are the members of the city council. And there are openings coming up, so you can join the people here and ask questions.
My apologies, I knew that, and I just wanted to answer.
Okay, does anybody else have a question of Mitch?
Are they gonna have a big lighted at night?
Yes. That's our intentions.
Do you need any action from us approved?
Not at this time. Hopefully by our next board meeting, I'll have the numbers, and then we will submit them to the council on your next meeting. But I don't, as I told the board last week, I don't anticipate the expenditure of a lot of money.
All right. Thank you, Mitch.
You bet.
Okay, Chief Fleet would like to address us on the future goals of the Lone Star Police Department, and then we'll have a short update after that by BJ on our 2 patrol units.
2016 was a pretty good year for us as far as getting some projects started, and we have a lot of things we want to accomplish this year. One thing is our house-to-house cleanup in the Edgemont and other areas of town. We seem to have a line drawn in the sand where people think just because they're from one side of the road to the other that they have more privileges than the others, and that's not true. And we're here to try to assist anyone along the way to get their property cleaned up or get something accomplished to make the city look better. We can all sit here and fight each other all day long if we want to about this, that, and the other. It means nothing unless we pull together to accomplish a goal. And that's what the police department's here for, is to accomplish a goal and help the citizens and protect the citizens and be here for the citizens. We can't solve every crime. We can't prevent every crime from happening. We can be here to attempt to prevent, and that's all we can do. If a criminal wants to make a crime happen, he can do that with us standing there watching. It doesn't matter. But we intend on cracking down on our drugs more, as we did last year. We had one news bust already this year. This guy was basically, I call it a revolving door outlet. He had 60 plus bags ready to sell in cups on the table when the DA took it and ran with it, so we won't have any problems on that. He's a convicted felon. He had a firearm in the residence. We said, well, why can't you do that every day? Well, you got to build a case. You got to have information. You got to have reliable information. You got to document everything. Safety-wise, we are geared up to try to be safe with the best safety equipment we can get. All that was bought with donations, and that's from the citizens of town. It's donated money to the police department to buy Kevlar helmets or vests or the equipment we need to do these things with. You say it's an overkill. To me, it's an underkill, because if an officer walks out there safe because he had the equipment on, it's better to have it than not. We're nothing but targets nowadays, according to the newspaper. Every day you see when an officer's ambushed or something. That's part of the job. Y'all can laugh at it. You can say we're paranoid. I don't care. We're going to do the best we can so everybody goes home to mom, dad, the babies, grandma, grandpa, and whoever every night. Fire department's the same way. They put their lives on the line every day, just like we do when they go fight a house fire. I'm proud of the guys. They work hard, they do a lot of volunteer work inside the city that nobody ever seems to think about complimenting them on. There's always something else that can be done. Instead of going out there saying, we need to do that, come out there and roll your sleeves up and help us do that. That's the way I've always felt about things. Young generation needs to understand that the older generation may be a little older, but we still got a little pride left in us. So this town means a lot to me. It means a lot to the officers that work here. And let's not tear it down with words. Let's build it up with brick and mortar. Businesses will come into town if we want them to. I think this town was dependent on things that it shouldn't have been dependent on back several years ago, and I mean, when I was a kid, that now we're paying the price for. But if we will pull together, not only local citizens or anybody, help each other, we'll all be better off, I guarantee. And BJ's gonna bring you up to date on our grant situation. We applied for a grant last year, we were approved for it. We're gonna apply for another one this year, and we're gonna continue applying for them as long as they'll let us apply.
Question, you talking about your future goals,
Uh-huh.
cleaning up
Mhm.
and stuff. Is there any possibility that maybe getting those down 250, you know, where the old hardware store was, all that stuff is across from A&E and all that stuff?
Yes.
I mean, that does look bad as you come in the Lone Star.
We're gonna look into doing that. We've got a couple, 3 or 4 houses we wanna look at tearing down. Of course, that costs the city $500 when we tear one down. We put a lien on the property. If the lot ever sells, we're still the last person in line on it. Appraisal district gets their choice. I think school gets theirs before we ever even see a penny of it. But that's the one thing we wanna do. We don't wanna go in and just start tearing houses down to be tearing them down. Getting these out of town landlords, that's our biggest problem we have. Communication with them is killing us. But we're gonna try to get stronger on our ordinance. And every year we go through the same thing, and it seems like it's not the same person that lives there. It's always somebody different, but same landlord. So hopefully we can get something going on that. It's not an overnight fix. It's not gonna be an overnight fix. I wish I could take and say it would be, but it just won't be. But we're gonna do our best to do what we can. And that should reduce our crime rate, I hope. Be good.
Everything's looking good on the new vehicles. I'm gonna put in another grant this year. Last year we cut half our money. Hopefully, they'll give us at least 30 grand this year. We're gonna try to get, I don't have anything in paperwork this time, next time I'll have something typed up. We're gonna try to get the grant to pay for the entire vehicle. If the city will just match the $6,000 to about $8,000 to put equipment. So then the city, we'd have a brand new vehicle and the city wouldn't have to be out with less than 10 grand easy for brand new good equipment. Do you have any questions on the grant? Or I'll have everything topped up next time. I just wanted to let y'all know about it.
Okay, has everybody seen the new black?
Yeah, very
I
nice.
saw that today.
Yeah, I saw it.
Very nice looking truck. And as long as we're talking about police stuff, if anybody has seen the movie or is going to go see the movie, what's that movie about the dog? A Purpose, A Dog's Purpose or something like that. Well, we have 12 little starter pups.
Starter pups.
That anybody is welcome to have. The police department rescued them from the highway, but we need somebody to pick up the ball from there if anybody's interested in that.
We got 10 4-week-old puppies that were in a box in the middle of the highway. No mama. So they're 4 weeks old. I don't know, they had Heinz, something like it do.
So they're of course cute because all 2-year-olds are cute. All puppies are cute. And then when you go see the movie, you'll feel real good about that. Okay, last, while we're waiting for our auditor to maybe show up. Let's take 7.7, just discussion on Jonathan Nix, one of our public works people, taking a city vehicle home to Gilmer while on call. And part of the reason that he maybe needs to do this a little more than in previously is, of our 4 workers, one of them recently, Xavier Pagan, resigned, so we're a little short-handed. Hopefully, we will not be short-handed as long as we were for the supervisor position.
How's our new supervisor working out?
Very good, I think. Yes. He's getting around town, he's learning what we're doing, and he's making a contribution, I believe.
Mr. Nixley, lives where?
Gilmer. Which I think is inside the boundary that we set for taking vehicles home.
He's on 24-hour call.
It is on, he would alternate weekends with Calvin right now,
Essentially, yes.
so yes.
Yeah, off-duty call, I guess, anytime that, not 7 to 5 or 8 to 5, we're here. Then he's the on-call or go-to guy. And they're very important because,
When the power goes out, the lift stations go down.
yeah, if we get a spill, we need to contain that thing right away,
Yeah.
or we can wind up owing lots and lots and lots of money. So, I think it's a reasonable thing for us to do. And it falls within our policy on taking vehicles home.
I'll be that we're short-handed. I would make a motion that we approve the job mix to take the city vehicle home while on call.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion, any further comments? All in favor, aye. Okay, let's go back up to number 7.1, the financial audit, which everybody has a copy of in their package. I'll just tell you, like all audits, if it doesn't say anything, that's a good thing. Because they only tell you bad things, they never tell you good things. So, significant findings is the financial statements disclosures were neutral, consistent, and clear, so there's no issue there. Difficulties encountered performing the audit, none. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements, none. So, again, it means they think we did a good job, and of course, they have lots of pages of columns of numbers in here that if anybody needs to ask a question on, they can, but I don't know that we need that if they'll want to go ahead and just approve it tonight.
I make a motion to go ahead and approve the audit.
Okay?
Second that. Well done, Ms. Walker.
Okay, then all in favor, aye? Oh, any discussion first? Any questions? All in favor, aye?
No.
Any opposed? Okay, that's one of the really key skills that the city kind of lost for a while, but now we've been doing it pretty steadily, and we pretty much have the routine back in place. That's why we've already got the letter of engagement for next year's audit set up. So that's an area that we've definitely made big strides forward. And anybody wants to make a motion on number 8?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. And second? And all in favor? Aye. Sure. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
We need to sign the
Oh,
Yeah.